military. So some of the things I'd known before I joined the military were basic history stuff like the U.S. Army was responsible for, mistreating, mishandling the American Indians. I also knew that there were some instances where the U.S. military, especially the U.S. Army, was involved in Latin America, both in recent decades and also last century. And I'm talking about the 1800s, not the 1900s. And in fact, it was later on that a friend of mine, coworker in the Army, Hawaii, talked about an American general who complained that he felt that he was nothing but a shill for the United Fruit Company. Let's see. So what else did I know? Well, it's just very interesting to me. So what else do I know? The other thing is that I had read a book called Panzer Battles, which was written by a German colonel named Mellenthin. And this book was the same book that General Norman Schwarzkopf had on his desk. And he had read and studied before going into the first Gulf War. Very interesting book, by the way, because, a lot about tactics of tanks as well as mixed forces. And also particular interest or at least to me, was the fact that it would show the breakdown of German and American units as well as other Allied units as they fight each other, and how it literally become that the British, not the British, but the Germans were literally fighting the Americans at about one unit level below. So if the unit levels go platoon, company, battalion, brigade, and then corps, if there was an American brigade, then it would be a German battalion. If it was an American battalion, it'd be a German company, and so forth. And it was just on down the line. All these, towards the end of the war, all these conflicts, these little skirmishes and battles, that's what you saw happening. So I thought it was very interesting that the Germans were just kicking butt all over the place. And in particular, when I joined the Army, I was amazed to realize that basically the U.S. military had really fully adopted the German model. And in fact, I had known from various History Channel programs that the American military's main weapon, the M16, was based off of a German model. Let's see, what else? But, the one thing that I wish had happened when I was serving was, if I could have chosen where I would have liked to have risked my life, then it would have been in Africa. Because where in the world do I think the people need it more? It's like in Iraq. First Gulf War happens, and then 10 years later the second Gulf War. But during that time, there was pretty much an active state of war. There were the no-fly zones. I talked to this guy in the Army who said that, the U.S. military would just fly missions over and basically draw fire from the anti-aircraft. Which, if you have ever seen the movie Flight of the Intruder, I'm trying to remember who exactly is in that. I want to say William Dafoe. But the core point of that movie is it's two men who are pilots, and they go on these wild Weasel missions, which is literally they fly over Vietnam and wait for anti-aircraft rocket launchers or radar and rocket launchers to lock on, and what those guys do is they will launch a missile to track that radar site, but then they will also figure out where is the enemy coming from and mark that location, and then later on have a bombing raid come through and destroy whatever they can. So that's what the U.S. soldiers were doing in Iraq. I had a friend of mine who had joined the Army, and he actually ended up being stationed out in Kuwait. And his one of the stories he was telling me was that there was mostly guys in his unit. There were a few women, about 3 or 4, and that for whatever reason, these women who were part of the unit, in whatever capacity, basically became prostitutes and were selling themselves to whoever. It's a good question of how valid, how true was this statement by my friend, but interesting, tale nonetheless. What else? Yeah, just some different things I was thinking about and had observed over the years.